My name is Tanur Ali, aka She Writes. I am a poet, spoken word artist, and all kinds of other stuff. We're about to get started with the open mic. I want to give time for a few people who are dangling in the hallway to come in, and then we'll get started. Okay, I'll do a love poem. Wanting to write like I had never written before, I opened my notebook, plugged it up, and started to think of the score. Then I stared at the floor, trying to conjure spirits and gifts from amidst broken dreams, but it seems dreams are elastic and tend to bend in places where graces leave and mend in effortless seams, leaving me wanting inspiration. Then I realized I want for nothing. Because every dream I've dreamed has been brought to fruition, like keys in the car turned on the ignition to my destiny. All I gotta do is write, and I did it. All I gotta be is I, and I is it. So the business that I tried to learn in school flew in one ear, came out number two, because the artistic tendencies intrinsic in me, they aren't missing a beat. Flow with me, like the man by the river do, wanting to ride beside me, but he didn't paddle a boat. It's cool though, because he isn't missing a note. May as well be Barack, because he's getting my vote. And time don't take away from these things. It adds to the blessing, makes me want to sing like na 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 na. But I can't hold the note, or a tune, or his strings do. So when I'm feeling musically inclined, he's designed to make me want to listen or challenge my fingertips to contort into awkward positions like lovers do. But before I do, I've designed a prism through which I see music and text messages. So I decipher music lessons and cyber love letters, be like an E9 intelligence analyst, just to find it's all too true. So I change the alert level. So, on real, I can detect fake-ish and delete it like I did the numbers for the alternates. Like I could alternate between fates. He is the one. He is the one. He is the one who brings me to upgrade my style. He's wild and low-key. So you may never know. He be like a cool drink on a hot day, hitting spots in just the right way, opening places that were locked and didn't have no key. Hitting spots, I said. I mean, you know what I meant. But if it went over your head, it's cool, because I know he got it, because he gets me. Excessive vocabulary, forgetful tendencies, compliment fishing, confidence in me, consequence. And the ability to know my role, because I know we roll like currents in the river do. Ain't none more current than me and my river. None so giving like my baby do, and spins on me. Time and inclination, time and inspiration, rain through the jaws of droughts, and I am never thirsty. Can't see that we should ever be hungry. I know that we will never be thirsty. See, he sows seeds and the fruits of his labor be sweet, like the lemonade we make when life gives lemons. He sows those seeds too, and tends the crops too. And I, not blinded by love, but given you vision, see, I had a vision of love. And it was just a touch of what had been given. And touch, I lied to you not. He has laid hands on me. Must have been all those days in the church house, how he learned to siphon heavenly energy through the palm of his hands, so his fingertips be permeating chi like he be Neo, I be Trinity. Something about this thing is holy. Couldn't write it nasty if I wanted to. The inspiration wouldn't let me. Energy flow is centripetal, he teaches me. Got 10 years on me, keeps me on my toes. I rock, he rolls. I reflect, he flows. I write, he knows the meaning of my words and even corrects me. Wants the best for me, wants the best from me, gives the best to me. Left the rest to be echoing his name deep inside my chest cavity. Like a tattoo, deep blue, running through my veins too, and knows his mathematics. So my Islam and his Christian heritage don't collide into egotistical divides, because we know me plus you equal God's truth. Me is so like it. And me, I want for nothing. Because every dream I've dreamed has been brought to fruition, like keys in the car turned on the ignition to my destiny. All I got to do is write, and I did it. All I got to be is I, and I is it. Thank you. Dear Christian.
This is a poem I wrote. It's called Love versus Logic. And if you know me, I'm a really logical person, so it's me all day. My mind screams at the calming madness that surrounds my emotions. Deciphering through the simple feelings is as easy as kicking one sentence away from the ocean. But even as I decipher, I know my element is love. The most complicated of simplistic feelings. the one that I'm supposed to be above. You see, my problem began when logic betrayed me. And during that short period of time, in love leapt and fatally swayed me. So, unknowingly, I opened my heart and closed my eyes, young and naive, awaiting love's surprise. With my abandoned logic nowhere in sight, love and I laughed and danced and even had the occasion to fight. Until one fateful night, logic crept back in. And the next morning, when I opened my eyes and closed my heart, my head began to spin. I looked around and my heart beat fast. And that is when I realized how much time had passed. But even as logic tried to come in and overpower me, love fought even harder to keep me in a world of fantasy. That is when I realized that phenomenon had occurred that no one could have predicted. Love came in and tricked me, and now I'm addicted.
Jeremy Lane. Everybody can give it up to Jeremy.
Okay, this is by Chance the Rapper. I think it's called That's Love. What's better than tripping is falling in love. What's better than Letterman, Leno, Fallon, and all the above? What's better than popping bottles trying to ball in the club is the first caveman pops with his son, ball in a club. What's better than paper is balling it up. What's better than follows is actually falling in love. What's better than frolicking follies falling in mud, rolling in green pastures, wandering, following, following love. What's better than eating is feeding your fam. What's better than meetings is missing meetings to meet with your fam. What's better than leaning and needing your Zan is hitting your Zan, dreaming a dream could mean leaving the land. What's better than yelling is hollering love. What's better than rhymes, nickels, dimes, dollars, and dubs is dialing up your darling just for calling her up. Ain't nothing better than falling in love. Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Omalara. Is Omalara?
I'm reading a poem called Height, and it's by Mariah Dessa Carey Tolley. Like bamboo, I only look fragile, bend but do not break, sway dangerously close to the ground in painful angles, do not break, stand straight, stretch high, face closer to the sun this time, hair tangling up the stars this time, do not break, do not merely bounce back, bend low and not always graceful but taller, always taller, when I choose to stand again.
Okay, next up we have Antavius Hood.
And this is a poem that I wrote. It's kind of long. It's called Impressions. I was born in '93, a year foretold of prophecy. So until I reach my final destination, I will shoot for my dreams. See, my dad taught me it's not the first impression, it's the last. And the meek shall inherit the earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, we're the same as grass. So never look in the past, look to the stars. You can see your fate shining in the sky, oh rare and strange gas. See, I was born in the winter. That's December, so I don't need to remind you because you don't remember the lonely nights I've worked. Some nights of success, some nights of fail on this project we call life. But I've been a star and I will prevail. So who do you blame for mediocrity? I've had all odds against me and I've done all the sins. Still, God will not take away my opportunity. It's not the first impression, it's the last. Either you can fall and shoot. I've fallen, O merciful Father, but so help me God. No one knows his plans but me and I. Let me remind you, my life is distorted by some of the dim personalities, but not everybody is your friend. I weep because I'm not weak, but because I'm meek. And people's tongues are deceit against me, will be begging for me at the end. You can't allow someone else to tell you about me. Born in the winter, that's December. It's a cold world for me, but only in your eyes. Because you pointed out all my sins, you forgot to ask the Lord to forgive your own. Follow your own path to salvation, not mine. It doesn't matter about designer. Eternal heaven is my desire. Money will never buy you happiness, just fancy things. $1 is your best friend, and even she will leave you. You need to recognize, do not allow God's relationship and yours to be altered by a country that's trying to make the whole world westernized. We need reconciliation for the civilization. We need to give people knowledge. My story is a nice tale. That makes my son's legacies. And I need to remind you I was born in the winter, and that's December. It's a cold world for me, but as long as I'm alive, I will make sure my race survives. I know I will be long gone before you feel the impact on how I've kept the black race intact. Words can't describe it because the first impression is not your last.
Okay, next up we have Jeff Freeman. Everybody please give it up.
I really haven't decided what I want to say, so I'm going to ask y'all what y'all want to hear. Y'all want to hear something about love, or y'all just want to hear something besides love? All right, this is actually a first verse from a song I got called At War With Myself. It seems like the world's so big when you're out here by yourself. Hang on, let me run it back. It seems like the world's so big when you're out here by yourself, because the only time my phone rings is when somebody needs some help. I got 8 bills to pay today, got 3 more due on the 12th, got $50 left off my re-up. I'm going to cop a 3.5 and smoke what's left. I'm going to tell you what I'm not going to do. Feel sorry for myself. I'm going to do it till they say I did it to death. Fall off? Nah, bro, you're kidding yourself. I'm at a crossroad, and my choices determine my fortune. It's either do business with vultures or unemployment. I went to the doctor for one appointment. She said I was crazy. Well, not really depressed, and she prescribed all types of medications. I read the side effects and promised I wasn't going to never take it. It's not that half of my mind is saying, Jeff, you won't make it, but the other half is overly dedicated. I'm at war with myself. That's it.
That really touched me. That really hit something in me. Thank you for sharing that. Next up, we have Brittany Trumel Smith.
Hey y'all, I always get nervous, but here we go. Okay, so this poem kind of hit home to me, and it's a little different than what we've been doing today. But I've noticed that, you know, I'm young, and what I notice with youth is that we live in a state of lack and limit. And so sometimes we're not as motivated. And I think we were kind of touching on that earlier about being consistent and being proactive. And that's something I need to work on. But then I can look at, you know, my ancestors and I can say, well, dog, if they did it, then I know I can. You know, because I want to be successful. And I know that if I want to be successful, I got to, you know, want that success as much as I want my next breath. You know, we hear that a lot, and that's something that just goes with me. So this poem kind of gets me back motivated. Mother to son. Well, son, I'll tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it, and splinters, and boards torn up, and places with no carpet on the floor, bare. But all the time, it's been climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So, boy, don't you turn back. Don't you sit down on the steps 'cause you find it's kind of hard. Don't you fall now, for I still going, honey. I still climbing, and life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Langston Hughes.
Thank you. Okay, and next up, we have asu-tv. Everybody please put your hands up.
So if I speak loud enough, do I have to stay right here? Okay, cause I like to move. Can y'all hear me? Yeah. Cool. I'm living off long days and nights, blueprinting and building on foundations of dreams. Keep my faith in the cornerstone. Ask for what I seek and knock on all the doors, make noise in the hallways. That will not be ignored. I stay humble any way that I know how, but I'm human though. So I go hard and that ignites my ego. I'm sick of being tested, but disguising it's a blessing. So I stay with me a number 2, acing all the questions. Is she? Could she? Would she? Did she really do that? The answer's probably yes. It ain't nobody perfect. If you ask me, I would tell you I speak it like Mr. Ed, no peanut butter on my breath, dude. I never be anybody else but capital O, capital S-H-E, capital T-Y-G-H-T. You see me, and now I'm not a dummy, so forget it all. Pay me. Thank you.
Y'all can tell asu-tv is pretty awesome. Y'all see how she got that name. Tight. Liz Ventura. You ready? Everybody, please give it up for Liz.
I'm Liz Ventura, and the poem I'm going to be doing is by Nikki Giovanni, and it's Eagle Tripping, There May Be a Reason Why. I was born on the Congo. I walked the Fertile Crescents and built the Sphinx. I designed a pyramid so tough that a star that only glows every 100 years falls into the center, giving divine, perfect light. I am bad. I sat on the throne drinking nectar with Allah. I got hot and sent an ice age to Europe to cool my thirst. My oldest daughter is Nefertiti. The tears from my birth pains created the now. I am a beautiful woman. I gazed on the forest and burned out the Sahara Desert with a packet of goat's meat and a change of clothes. I crossed it in 2 hours. I am with Giselle, so swift, you cannot catch me. For a birthday present, when he was 3, I gave my son Hannibal an elephant. He gave me Rome for Mother's Day. My strength flows ever on. My son Noah built Newark, and I stood proudly at the helm as we sailed on a soft summer day. I turned myself into myself and was Jesus. Men intone my loving name, all praises, all praises. I am the one who would save. I sewed diamonds in the backyard. My bowels deliver uranium. The fillings from my fingernails are semi-precious jewels. On a trip north, I caught a cold and blue. My nose giving oil to the air world. I am so hip, even my errors are correct. I sailed west to reach east and had to round off the earth as I went. My hair from my head thin and gold was laid across the 3 continents. I am so perfect, so designed, so thorough, so surreal. I cannot be comprehended except by my permission. I mean, I can fly like a bird, to say, like a bird in the sky.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, next up, we're going to have one of our poets from the community, Tiffany Bliss King. If everybody could please welcome Tiffany. I've blossomed, come out of a cocoon that once had me consumed. With my emerging, a new energy is surging forward, so beware. No more nightmares of not waking up after suffering the fate of your abusive hands or feet or knees or elbows. Blows Mike Tyson couldn't even stand, but I stand before you today to say that I made it. In spite of torment once faced, I placed the past behind where it belonged and moved along with life by any means necessary. Because love shouldn't hurt. And the hurt caused by you is no longer. I hunger for true love. Not realizing what true love means, I beam because love is my light, my love for self. Gained sight of self-assurance, had endurance, held on until the final straw on the camel's back was broken. And I got my token of freedom. A free I never thought would come because I'd become your prisoner with no fun suppose. But now I toast my newfound freedom. No longer needing you as my source of happiness, realizing that happiness wouldn't come until I found its true source, and of course I tapped in. Because within I felt my chains break, and I began to take control of my life, my love. Knowing I was above even your lowest blow, no longer allowing you that power, your coward really became clear to me, and I gradually gained courage and left. Everybody, please give it up for Derek.
Okay, subject of my poem is something that I think everybody is familiar with, and I made it sort of short, sweet, and to the point. I call this piece, In the Face of the Individual, We Know There Is Hate, Therefore We Move Around It. Hatred. To become profound, one will endure hatred. The true vessel that awaits the hatred counteracts the substance designed to halt you. Therefore accept those who draw on the spirit of hatred. Some look to entice because of hatred, but kudos to the individual who can exceed this error. One will come to find hatred has no power, but only looks for its vessel to irritate. one can live without this error. Recognize it is a force and is worthy of correction. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to continue moving on down the list. Next up, I would like to call up Miss Mary Gerber.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to share something light. You've heard all this deep poetry today. This is called The Newborn. Isn't she cute? Isn't she sweet? Darling little baby with plump, smooth cheeks. Isn't she cute? Isn't she sweet? Pert nose, wee mouth, fragile hands and feet. Isn't she cute? Isn't she sweet? Suckling infant, all gums, no teeth. Isn't she cute? Isn't she sweet? Nestling baby, hunger replete. Isn't she cute? Isn't she sweet? Precious little bundle while she's asleep. And I'm going to take the liberty of age, since some of the other poets didn't choose to show up, and share a second poem with you. It's called Dandelion, also known as Milkweed. We have a lot of dandelions in our yard, and rather than eat them, because they can be eaten as salad, I choose to fight them and try to get them out of our beautiful lawn. And so, as a result of that inspiration, I penned this poem, Dandelion. Standing proud, growing strong, is the hardy dandelion. Taproot deep in the dirt, splayed atop soil, a green frond skirt. Arms stretched to the sun, flaunting flagrant yellow blossoms. Thistles soon waft in the wind, launching seedlings once again. Standing proud, growing strong, is the hardy dandelion. So I've given up the fight, trying to get rid of those dandelions.
Okay, next up we have Brianna Hampton. Everybody please.
Okay, this poem is by Maya Angelou and the name of it is Clothes. You are in love with Tommy because his last name is Hilfiger, but behind closed doors, Tommy is calling you a nigger. But you could care less because you have been taught to dress to impress. If I ask you about your true history, you will have to look on the back of your jeans and guess. You come up in the club wearing Versace, clothes made by a homosexual male, so even when you say you're straight, it is very hard to tell. And for your footwear, you wear Timberlands, even under the sun, that some tree that the symbol for them could have been the same one your ancestors were hung from. I cannot forget about Nautica. When was the last memory you had of ships? Coming to North America in shackles, being beaten over the back with whips? And to my beautiful black queens, whose creative womb has become barren, I'm confused because your face says Nerfiti, but your sweater reads Donna Karen. When was the last time you saw Liz Claiborne conversing with black women? But as soon as her name is printed on a purse, to Macy's you go, quickly running. Ralph Lauren doesn't even look at black men unless they're driving him around town. But as soon as that slave master appears on the back of a horse, you put whatever you have picked up down. My people, reclaim your status in this world and in your life. FUBU, in case you didn't know, stands for us, by us. Buying black will someday suffice. Do you know who owns Timberland Fashion? Well, Timberland is owned by the president of the KKK. Surprised? Don't be. Read more books, black people. Always hope for the best and prepare for the worst. You may not get what you pay for, but you'll surely pay for what you get.
Next up, we have Nadia Ponder.
All right, can y'all hear me? How y'all doing? Today's poem that I will be reading is A Place for Me by Anonymous. There is a special place in life that needs my humble skill, a certain job I meant to do, which no one else can fulfill. The time will be demanding, and the pay is not too good, and yet I wouldn't change it for a moment, even if I could. There is a special place in life, a goal that I must attain, a dream that I must follow, because I won't be back again. There is a mark that I must leave, however small it seems to be, a legacy of love for those who follow after me. There is a special place in life, the only I may share, a little path that bears my name, awaiting me somewhere. There is a hand that I must hold, a word that I must say, a smile that I must give, for there are no tears to blow away. There is a special place in life that I was meant to feel, a sunny spot where flowers grow upon a windy hill. There's always a tomorrow, and the best is yet to come. And somewhere in this world, I know there is a place for me.
Sound like to me that place is on the mic. Y'all give it up for Nadia. Okay, next up we have Shari B.
Good afternoon. My name is Shari B. I will be reading a poem entitled A Daughter's Testament, in which I wrote to both my mothers, my adopted mother and my biological mother. So this is a poem about love, sincere, true love. Blessed is the weary woman who conceives in her womb a righteous sacrifice unto the Most High, for in her doing reveals the truth of divine mercy, everlasting love, and forgiveness. Fear does not consume her, for even in doubt does she discern that which is true and worthy. Her seed shall be forever grateful in her courageous honor. Though she be made susceptible to man's condemnation, it is God's eternal will that she is uplifted abundantly and made whole in time of the great harvest. Her sustenance is acknowledged above all things. For this is the season in which her seed becomes holy and reverent to the will in which God has promised to produce prosperous works within. Blessed is the barren woman who nurtures as her own the seed of a separate womb. For in her doing reveals a divine devotion to the Most High and his assurance. Though she be barren, it is she who nobly provides the fecund ground for which the seeds of others shall grow virtuous and upright. Grateful are those who distinguish her works, for indeed they are pleasing in the sight of the Most High. Her resolve to oblige in benevolence is the very strength of God, luminously manifested in all other ways. Like jewels of the Sahara, she sparkles with a rare beauty, and within her heart she does produce the fruits of the Spirit. Her patience is acknowledged above all things. For this is the season in which her faithfulness is revealed to all of mankind for the edification of her glory. Blessed is the weary mother, for she has been made strong in her valor. Blessed is the barren mother, for she has created abundant life through her purpose. Blessed are the seeds sprung forth in this manner. For this is the season in which all past troubles are renewed and made righteous in integrity and in love. Rejoice and make merry. The enduring riches of the Most High are bestowed upon you forever and ever. Thank you.
Remember the name. Next up, everybody please welcome Carlisha Hart.
Okay. I'm Carlisha Hart, and my poem is called The Difference Between Who I Am and Who They Say I Ought to Be. Some people think because I'm smart, I ought to be considered a scholar. People think because I'm athletic, I ought to be into an athletic field. People think because I'm good at giving advice, I ought to be perfect. People think because I carry myself a certain way, I ought to be stuck up. People think because I worship, I ought to not have trials and tribulations. But there's one big difference between who I am and who they say I ought to be. I am human, and who they claim I ought to be is unrealistic. I may not be perfect, I may not know everything, but one thing I do know is that my talent doesn't make me, so don't judge me by the things you see.
Next up, we have Amanda Holland.
Hi, everybody. I'm reading a poem written by a very close friend of mine that I had the pleasure of meeting. And it's inspired by Drake's Girls Love Beyonce, but it's called Girls Love Rihanna. See, girls love Rihanna. Girls love that she's a badass. You're no different with your badass. You swear you're part of the Navy, although your actions say, I'm drowning, come save me. Lately, I can't believe I once thought you would play me. Your looks slay me, have me near thirst daily, and your mind captivates me, so intellectual, such a sapiosexual. Most guys get lost in you, breaking their hearts just to give you a piece, not knowing that you keep options to a piece. Not knowing that you also shed tears, 2 at least, when you're drinking, feeding life to a beast. You go out at night, leaving safety to find peace. Your spirit get lost in the lights, laying in a cold bed with wet dreams, reading dry texts on warm nights. Continually getting left while looking for Mr. Right. Always left in the dark despite being so bright. Yet you're still the only girl in my sight. Something about you is just different, despite deafening silence within you. You know just how to listen, however, we both know that something's missing. I don't know what it is, but I'm not really sure how to feel about it. Something in the way you move makes me feel like I can't live without you. Takes me all the way. I want you to stay. I want you to stay. Love me in your special way. What's missing is the part that I kept giving. A heart filled with empty commitments. You've been hurt and you've built walls with the pain. But I chose to deal with the hurt by filling the moat with the rain. I don't want you drowning, trying to get to me. Why is it that neither of us can get past history? What's the point of finding love in a hopeless place if we're just going to fall at it in a hopeless pace? Fail to find trust, only a hopeless trace. Fail to build a foundation, only a hopeless brace. Questions, doubts that need to be faced. We may have baggage, but I think it's our time our luggage gets replaced. Put your pain in wisdom. I put mine in progress. We'll support each other through the process. You're used to dating men that you took on as a project. I wonder if you'll leave me when you realize I'm not that. Got me gone in my feelings, and I'm not back. I still don't know what it is, but I'm not really sure how to feel about it. Something in the way you move makes me feel like I can't live without you, and it takes me all the way. I really want you to stay. Written by A. Lewis.
We're coming close to the end. We have one more student poet who's going to share, and then I'm going to share with everyone what myself and Tiffany King and LaTrinda Baker and Oshi Kite came up with the words from the poetry.
I signed up because I think I signed it.
Okay, I'll give you the list. We came up with a poem so far. It's not complete, but right now we're at 4 pages. And so I figured it would be a good time to go ahead and share that. And then we can complete the rest of it, which will be published in the Hearing Journal. And so without further ado, if everyone please put your hands together. If everyone would please put your phones on silent, vibrate regularly. We're going to welcome Ramel Amadi Amina.
How y'all doing? My name is Ramel Amadi Amina, and this is a poem I haven't memorized yet, so it's probably not going to be as powerful as it should be, but I'm going to go ahead and It's called Here's the Situation. Here's the situation. If you live in a nation of lowered expectations and people who never exceed their limitations, with poor education, people who are just a poor imitation of somebody else's imagination, with no identification or individualization. But is this the explication, a reflection of today's black nation? I have a little chuckle to myself. But this is where the laughing and joking and rhyming stops. Because this is not for entertainment. Because we as black people today are considered more ignorant than intelligent, more selfish than selfless, more losers than winners, more evil than good, and more of the problem except the solution. And yes, it is society's fault for putting that label on us, but we at the same time are not helping matters either. When men let their pants sag when men let their pants sag along with their intelligence. When our women let a man define her except knowing her own self-worth. When men start worrying more about how many women they have except how many colleges they got accepted to. When women decided to be bad bitches, but not knowing that a real black woman would not classify herself as such. When our men started to act like little boys, forcing our little boys to act like men way before they were ready to. When we all look everywhere for that materialistic item, but too afraid to go look in a book. When most of us forgot what it means to truly give back and help a fellow brother out. I guess the real situation is, when are we all going to stop being our own worst enemy?
Next up, we're going to have Desiree Weston.
All right. For reasons I'm not going to explain, I titled my poem Under the Influence, but here you go. Last week, I discovered that I got issues, no different from you or you, but unique in a way that I'm not planning to change. I'm a cold heart with a warm smile. I'll invite you in and be your best friend, but when the time is right and you think you're ready, I'll unremorsefully let you down. I can't commit. I'll sit, listen, pay attention, but second guess every word I heard, guilty until proven innocent, because, well, I don't know how to trust. Never shed a tear, emotions are weakness, so I consider myself strong, but 3 words with 8 letters can make me run away, because see, learning is something I never learned. Loving is something I never learned. I set myself up to be alone. I know, how foolish could I be, but at least I can focus on getting this degree. Trading companionship for money, you can understand only if you were from where I am. Later on down the road, baby, I could worry about a man. Women wait for men all the time. I wonder if he'll wait for me. As a woman, as a female, I'm forced to choose between a successful career and a family. What keeps me going holds me back, because my strengths are what make me weak. Well, I choose success or to have someone next to me when I sleep.
One was my bad. I was trying to make sure to do things in a certain order, and I missed Denise Johnson. Everybody, please welcome Denise Johnson.
I'm going to say one by Solely Breaks, Why I Hate School But Love Education. So you want a degree, why? Let me tell you what society will tell you. Increases your chance of getting a job, provides you an opportunity to be successful, be a lot less stressful. Education is the key. Now let me tell you something, your parents will tell you. Make me proud, increase your chances of getting a degree, provide you an opportunity to be successful, your life will be a lot less stressful. Education is the key. Now let's look at statistics. Steve Jobs, net worth $7 billion. Richard Branson, net worth $4.2 billion. Oprah Winfrey, $2.7 million. Mark Zuckerberg, Henry Ford, Steve Spielberg, Bill Gates. Now here comes the coupe de grace. Looking at these individuals, what's your conclusion? Neither of them in being successful ever graduated from a higher learning institution. Now some of you may be like, money is only the medium by which we measure worldly success. And some of you even have the nerve to say, I don't do it for the money. So what you studying for? To work for charity? Need more clarity? Let's look at the statistics. Jesus, Muhammad, Socrates, Malcolm X, Mother Teresa, Spellberg, Shakespeare, Beethoven, Jesse Owens, Muhammad Ali, Sean Carter, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, Michael Joseph Jackson. Were either of these people unsuccessful or uneducated? All I'm saying is that if there was a family tree, hard work and education would be related, but school would probably be a distant cousin. Because if education is the key, school is the lock. Because it rarely even develops your mind to the point where it can perceive red as green and continue to go when someone else says stop. Because as long as you follow the rules and pass exams, you're cool. But are you aware that examiners have a checklist? And if your answer is something outside the box, then the automatic response is a cross. And then they claim that school expands your horizons and your visions. Well, tell that to Malcolm X, who dropped out of school and is worldly renowned for what he learned in a prison. Proverbs 17:16. It does a fool no good to spend money on an education. Why? Because he has no common sense. George Bush, need I say more? Education is about inspiring one's mind, not just fulfilling their head. And take this from me, because I'm an educated man myself, who only came to this realization after countless nights in the library, with a can of Red Bull keeping me awake till morning, another can in the morning, falling asleep between piles of books that probably equates to the same amount I spent on my rent, memorizing equations, facts, and dates right down to the letter, half of which I would never remember and half of which I would forget straight after the exam. Before the start of the next semester, asking anyone if they had notes for the last lecture. I often found myself running to class just so I could find a spot on which I could rest my head and just sleep without making a scene. Ironic, because that's the only time I ever spent in university chasing my dreams. And then after nights with a dead mind, I then find myself in a problem of half-awake students, zombies, waiting to hand in an assignment. Maybe that's why they call it a deadline. And then after 3 years of mental suppression and frustration, my proud mother didn't even turn up to my graduation. Now, I'm not saying that school is evil and there's nothing to gain. All I'm saying is understand your morals and reassess your aims. If you want a job working for someone else, then help yourself. But then that would be a contradiction, because you wouldn't really be helping yourself, you'd be helping somebody else. There's a saying that is, if you don't build your dreams, someone else will hire you to help build theirs. Redefine how you view education. Understand its true meaning. Education is not just about regurgitating facts from a book or someone else's opinion on a subject to pass on exam. Look at it. Picasso was educated at creating art. Shakespeare was educated in the art of all that was written. I once saw David Beckham take a free kick. I watched as the side of his Adidas-sponsored boot hit and patent leather of the ball at an angle, which caused it to travel toward the skies as though it was destined for the heavens. And then as I reached the peak of its momentum, as though it changed its mind, it switched directions. Though only a fraction of a millisecond too late, and before the net of the goal embraced the ball as though it was the sun returning home, and the country that I lived in erupted into cheers. I looked at the play and thought, dang, look at David Beckham. There's more than one way in this world to be an educated man.
Okay, next up we have Natasha Wise.
Hi, my name's Natasha Wise. I'm really nervous, so bear with me. This is something that I wrote myself. It's called I Grew Up a White Girl by a proud African American. I grew up a white girl. I grew up thinking that the color of my skin did not define me until I was told that it was. When I went to school because I spoke properly or dressed differently, the kids who looked like me told me I was white. I did not understand such a concept. I didn't understand how I looked just like you, and yet I did not fit in. As I got older, I made the decision. I was a white girl, trapped in a black girl's body. There was nothing I could do about it, and I was done fighting it. A difficult decision made by a child, based on the evolution of people around her. I decided that I was a white girl because when I looked around, if being a black girl meant having an attitude and speaking as if you did not understand the English language, then that was not for me. My mother held education very high in my household. No one considered her white. It was just me. But I took it in stride, and I decided that this is what I was going to be, forever white. As I entered high school, I realized that, as I entered high school, I looked around and I realized that maybe this was a harsh decision. But the children in the school who looked just like me told me I was bougie, told me that I appeared to be better than, or I did not act the way that I should. I would like to know what the definition of a white person is, because I speak in complete sentences, or I understand that pants are supposed to be worn above your waist. I am now less black than the people who sit next to me. I did not understand, and I decided I didn't want to. I didn't care. You're going to tell me that I'm white? Fine. I am a white girl. I made the decision to come to an HBCU, which was a very difficult decision in my head. I had decided that I would be judged. I would be seen as an outcast. But as I have stood here, as I have stayed in the halls and in the dorms, surrounded by people who are black, I do not see myself as a white girl. I realize that, yes, the color of my skin defines me as a black person. It does not make me any less black to speak or to enunciate. But what really makes me a black African-American proud girl is the shared history. It is not just the color of my skin or the naps in my hair or the fact that I always have to wrap my hair before I go to bed. It is not how tall I am or how good I am at sports or whether or not I'm athletic or can speak slang. It is knowing that our ancestry is shared, that we come from the same thing. We have all worked twice as hard, if not more, to get to where we are. And I am proud to be an African American, and yet I grew up a white girl.
Thank you, Natasha. Wow. For some reason, I am feeling very emotional. Everybody is over there making my eyes water. Every few minutes, I hear another poem that is hitting me hard in a different way. This poetry festival has been a very good experience for me this year and last year. I have found myself nourished and encouraged and happy. So, thank you. The poetries that we did, they're empty now because we took the leaves off of them, but there were over 150 leaves on the poetries. And so me, myself, Tiffany King, and LaTrinda Baker sat down and rifled through them and put together what we could so far. And we're going to get together again and work some more on it. But this is what we came up with so far. Transcendence is to reach beneath the settling grave, to lay beneath the soil, eventually to become one. The trick is to create a value that is honest and real. By following our passions in our hearts, we shall feel beauty and love inked on paper to express the inner emotions of the human heart. A brook falls from lips and waters the earth and supports the providers of the world. A melody that makes sunshine with a new brightness, a mind filled with lights. The emotions and voices locked inside my head flow naturally, and that's what they need, fluidity. It only takes one song to bring back 1,000 memories. Ignoring what's already instilled inside will cripple anything you pretend your life to be. Just because you're happy to be alive doesn't mean you're happy with the way you're living. Let's build. Home, earth freshly tilled, ripples in the Flint River, pushed by my uncle's boat, clapping in church. I come back to you. I've given up all to accept the call. Free. It's hard living in America, spelled with 3 Ks, walking around in a hoodie, living like it's our last days. Justice is an extravagant word, legal extortion blown out of proportion. Destiny is a fallacy when you don't make it your reality. Change is not always bad. Plant seed words, make medicine to appease village idiots, to staunch bleeding hearts, to soothe sick souls. That's what we got so far from the poetry. Thanks for coming along. I want to thank everyone for allowing, especially Dr. Mack, for allowing me to be a part of the Poetry Festival. It's always a good experience, and I'm looking forward again to next year. And I want to thank all of the young poets who have been participating and coming to the workshops and the forums and the open mics. It's really something quite special to watch this process blossom. And so with that, I say adieu. And here's Dr. Mack.
Thank you, ma'am. Wow. All right, I have a special request. Everybody who did an original poem, in this box to my right is a stack of Parian magazines, the literary journal that the department puts out. And we are in the process now of accepting submissions. So if you are a poet, an essayist, short story writer, or a playwright, we would like for you to submit something to the journal. All right, you can get one of these journals on your way out, please. And we want to continue this. All right, I assume that everybody had a great time. All right. The poets love you all. They love you, love you, love you. They have nothing but great things to say about you, about how beautiful the campus is and how welcoming the people are and how talented everybody is. So I mean, it's phenomenal work. So we want to make sure that we continue this conversation since we've started it, all right? So we continued it last year. We started it last year and had a great turnout with the journal, and some of the poets submitted something. Everybody, you're happy to know, everybody who was here this year has agreed to submit something to the Parian for the spring. So Mary Baraka will be in there, and Thomas Sayers Ellis is writing an essay, and everybody, all right? So everybody will be in there, in addition to a whole lot of other folks that I didn't ask to submit something. Things have already started coming in from other national poets. So there's going to be good company that your work will be in, all right? So just know that we are taking care of you here at this place, okay? All right, so we look forward to great things from you all in the future as we move forward. Know that I love you. If nobody told you that they love you today, I love you all very much. Put me on your Christmas list. I'll wear a size sexy. Yes, you know what sexy looks like. You can just pick it out and bring it. I'll wear it. All right, thank you all for making such a wonderful, wonderful festival. This is what Poetry Festival is about. Celebration and love and family. You all be good, go in peace. Know that I love you. Have a great day. Thank you all very much.